YouTube, back again with another tutorial. Today I'm going to be doing a third-person shooter tutorial. How to get like the aim correct, and how to have a crosshair, and to have the bullet emit, like actually go towards where you're aiming. So what we're going to do is we are going to, first of all, I'm going to explain what I have set up already. I just have a simple aiming keyframe that turns on aim and makes it so he has no arm vigor, and it also when you're holding down the aim button, there's a knock gate, and it will turn off jump and run animations, so you're still aiming if you jump and run. And then in here, I have a gun, and all it is an emitter with a bullet, and that bullet has a simple logic on it that says if it hits something after 0.1 seconds, it'll kill itself, or if it modifies health, it will kill itself. Is it possible to make an object suffer bullet holes or bullet damage, and how can I achieve that? Bullet damage, basically, you would have to make a separate sculpt for it being damaged, and you would reveal it depending on how much health it has. Like, you change the selected like sculpt, and you'd power it on depending on what about damage you'd have. And if you wanted to make it so, for example, bullet holes, what you'd have is a raycast on the bullet, and it would detect when you hit something. Like, the raycast would be behind the bullet, and when you hit something, it would trigger in an emitter for like a painting bullet hole, and it would emit at the hit position and orientation of the raycast hit of the wall. Yeah, or use the cut tool. So basically, you could use that. Once an object is destroyed with bullets, it would destroy itself. And there's an example of that with a rock that Johnny made. But okay, let's get back to the tutorial. Okay, so this bullet is really simple. Again, it's just on impact after 0.1 seconds, it'll kill itself, or if it modifies health of something, it'll kill itself. And it emits from here, and it emits very straightforward like this. So it's emitting out this front of the gun. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this very basic shooting puppet, and we're going to turn it into like an actual third-person shooter thing. So what we first want to do is we need to set up a camera rig. A camera rig isn't as intimidating as you would sound it to be. So basically, what we're going to do is we are going to put a tag on the puppet, and we're going to name it as player. And this you are going to want to position in the middle of the puppet, so basically right there. And what this does is it allows us to teleport the camera rig onto the player position. And to make the camera rig, all we need to do is go into sculpt mode and stamp a cube down. And this cube we're going to use for the entirety of the camera rig, and I'm going to make it about 50% the size. We don't need it that big. And what we're going to do is on the physical properties, turn off visibility, make it non-collidable. And then from here, we will grab a microchip, put it on there, about 50% size as well. And you really don't need more than, you don't really need a microchip for this, but if you want to organize and you want to add more things to the this, actually I do think we need a microchip. Never mind. We do need one microchip. So you want to add a teleporter on here. And what you're going to do is you're going to teleport to the player. And you want it to you do want it to match target orientation, but later you don't want it to. So basically you do this, and you want to have it positioned so you have it facing straight from things. So basically, I think the player is set up wrong. Yeah, this one isn't right. So all we need to do is do grid snap and drag the Y up. And now it should be correct. Yep. So now we have the base of our camera rig. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the actual rig itself, like the camera part. And what we're doing here is we're making an arm. So basically, once we make a group with this, we're going to be teleporting the entire group, and this is the base. So this defines where the base of the rig is at, and then this is going to be the camera itself. So what you want is this. So basically what you're doing is you're making two cubes on top of each other, and from here we want to connect them using a bolt. So from here to here, and then from the side like this. And basically what this does is it allows this to look up and down. And you don't really want to like use a motor bolt because you want to get the exact rotation of this, and that is really easy to do. Instead of getting the rotation of this, we're going to set it using a timeline, and with that timeline we're going to be able to tell the rotation without the actual rotation, because in Dreams the rotation values use axis angle representation, which basically means that you can't use raw rotation data, because if you do more than one rotation, it's like completely different than Euler angles, which is what you mainly deal with in math. So turn off the grid. And what I'm gonna do is, it's fine I guess, is I'm gonna let this teleport, pause, and then I'm going to move this to the position where I want the camera to be. And I will put down a camera on here. And we want it to be basically right in the cube. And so I'm going to move this so it's easier to see. And we can do something like this. And don't want to do that. I want to not narrow but widen. Yep, that's what we want. So when you're aiming, it's going to give you that view. So what we'll do is we're going to have wireless transmitter on here. And this will be our aiming. And when you hold down L2, that will go into here. And then over here, we're going to detect when we're aiming. So that would be sensors, wireless transmitter, and aiming. And, oh no, that's a transmitter. We want a receiver. Alright, and now we will plug that into here. And I'm also going to make a timeline. And we're going to set that to sustain. Hello, Zakiel. I'm currently streaming tutorial that I'm recording for YouTube. So we're going to take a keyframe, and from here we are going to set the rotation of this part. So that makes it so it will be constantly in this position, and we want to set the springiness up a little bit, like maybe about 50. So that way even if we don't have this keyframe active, it'll go to that by default. And then from here, what we're gonna do is make it so when we're aiming, turn that on, and we can see this in action in this moment here. Play it, and then I will take this, scope into the cube. Oop. You just select both of them. Yep. Scope into the cube and snap it back. Whoa. That's not what I want. Oh, you want to know why I didn't select the connector? There we go. Why isn't this working? Okay, you know what? Oh, because I need to make this a group. That's why. Now I can do it. Yep. And I'll try to get it as back to the position I can. And then we're going to scope back in. I'm going to pick up this microchip, scope out, and then let go. And we may need to move the teleporter position. Yep. So we're going to have to center this back onto the cube, which is fine. Actually, you know what we could do? I think if we scope into this and select both of these, and then turn down the density all the way. Scope back out. There we go. So now it's focused on the density of this cube because this is weightless. There we go. So now we get this, and this isn't going to work very well, but we have our basic aiming, and what we need now is we're going to rotate the camera when we do left and right, and we want up and down aim. So we'll do up and down aim first because that's arguably more complicated, I guess. And that would be using this. I'm going to delete this, and this will go on to 5 seconds. And then we want to duplicate this, and this is going to be the keyframe for aiming down. So basically like that. I do 35 degrees usually. And then let's check it with the camera. If you don't want it tilted like that, then we would have to do this, leave. I'm going to rotate this as best as possible into a straight position, otherwise it'll look funky like that. And then I'm going to move this so it's closer, and I'm going to move it a bit lower as well. There. I think. No. Okay. Still is a bit tilted. I don't want that. There we go. That looks good. And now let's double check this. That looks good as well. And then you can make it even lower as well if you wanted to. But if you do that, sometimes you'll have to probably move the rig down, so you would move this part down. Okay, so with this one, this is going to be aiming up. About 35. Do 55 as well, because you can aim more up at things, I guess. That's a bit too high. So delete this. Let's try 35 again. That's good, but I want the thing to be visible. The player to be visible, I mean. So we are going to move this rig down. So we go out, and then we move this down. And then we'll move the entire thing. Alright. That looks good. What is that? Bullet casing? Okay. Not sure why that's there. I guess that's part of the bullet I spawned in. Okay, and then we will do this. And now we have basic aiming up and down. I believe if we move this, like the entire rig, it will move this, even though this is moving up and down. It's not going to affect the actual real position of that because it's in a group, basically. Otherwise, you get really funky stuff. Right? And now from here, what we want is we are going to take a timer and we are going to make it go from 0 to 1. Actually, it doesn't really matter. This is the sensitivity. This is how sensitive the camera is going to be. So let's do 4. Let's see how that is. And we'll set it to be half time to be the default, so 2 seconds. And we're going to do speed. And we will put this timer output into the playhead position. So I need to shorten this actually. There we go. So now when you're completely aiming still, it's like this. And then from here, you can use this if you really wanted to, but I prefer to make it so it's wireless, so it's less wires running everywhere. So we're going to take a controller sensor, delete this and this, and take the right stick local, which means it's not affected by the camera position, and output this. And if you wanted to, you can add an option to inverse controls. So when you use up and down, it'll be the inverse, or make it remote controllable, and this will go into here. And as you can see, it's not very sensitive, so you can turn it up. You can lower the time on here and it'll make it more sensitive. And it's inversed, so I'm going to inverse this because I want it to be up is looking up and down is looking down. And inverse it, you take a calculator, multiply it by -1. There we go, and then up, we'll make it look up. And then down, we'll make it look down. And let's make this a bit more sensitive, so let's make it 2 seconds long. And if we don't want it to do that, we can turn the springiness. And that should get rid of the wipe, kind of. So now if we go into play mode, we can aim up and down. And again, you can change the sensitivity by changing the maximum time. And then you want to set it to half at default. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, so basically you can only change the aim when you are actually like aiming. And I'm going to transmit this as up down aim because we want the same value on the player. So you know what, we can actually put this on the controller gadget, and we can have it contained within here, which will be better for us because that way we have the controls on the player rather than on the rig. So I'm going to move this stuff over. Well, can do that. Okay. There we go. And again, we need right stick local, not this page right stick, because that is modified by the camera, and you'll get weird values when you start moving it. And when we hold down L2, we will allow you to aim up and down. And then on here, we'll have a wireless receiver. For... Oh, did I not name this yet? No. Aim up / down. And over here, we want this to be global. You can set it so it's not global, or you could just use direct wires if you want to have like multiple camera rigs for like multiple people. And aim up down, and that will go into our playhead position. That's one thing that they need to fix is make it so you can access playhead position from the tweak settings. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add an animation on here. And just for now, I'm not going to organize it because I'm being lazy, but I'll add a timeline on here. And we are going to force this to activate. Or actually, yeah, we want to do this. So when you're aiming, it's going to turn this on. It's going to have sustain, and then this will go into the playhead position here as well. And this will be 10 seconds. And then this will be our 5 seconds. Then we'll add one at 10. Alright. So this is going to be aiming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set this to the maximum, so we get a nice look at what we're looking at. And in here we're going to do this and this and this as much as we can, so he's aiming up with the camera. So let's see how that looks. I need to turn this on. There we go. That looks good. And then we will make another copy of this. And this is going to be our down look. So let's make, yeah, I guess, I don't know. I'm going to set this to the minimum so we can see that in tangent with the camera. That looks pretty good. So now we have the actual aiming animation on the puppet, and I'm going to put this back on the timeline. And now we can aim up and down, and I'm going to make the sensitivity even higher. And I'm going to reset this to default, so that would be, let's do 1 second, and then we're going to have half a second. And that might be really sensitive. It's not too bad. Again, you can change it later in the settings if you'd like. Like, you can make a settings gadget, or a variable that'll change with it. Alright? And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to add a raycast. And this is going to be the position that if we hit something with this, that is where we're going to aim. Like, that is where the emitter will decide to emit the object. Like, it'll emit the direction that I mean. It'll emit in that direction. And to do that, I will show how to do that in a second here. You can't just, it's not easy to do that, so I'll have to show you how. But basically, you want to center this as close as possible to the middle, and this is an actual good representation. And then from here, that's close enough in the middle, so we're going to make this like really, really long, like something like 30 meters or 40 meters, it doesn't matter, as long as it's pretty long. And when that hits something, it's going to output the position to something else we're going to make, which I will do in a minute here, because we want to get the crosshair first. The crosshair is actually really cool. If you watch the Resident Evil video I made, or the tank control video I made, I already showed you how to do this, but you can add a text display on here, and when you aiming up, down, when you're aiming, we'll turn this on, turn this off, turn this off, and we'll make it white. Then over here, in scene, not in scene, but here, we want to make sure it's in the center, in the middle, and then on here we can do this, UI target, and it gives you a crosshair. That is awesome, isn't it? Now we have a nice crosshair when we're aiming. Alright, and I'm going to change this to be a camera cut. There we go. And from here, what we need is, we are going to have it so when we are aiming, we are not going to have that on. So we'll have a not gate. That'll go into here, and that will go into here. And what this does is it allows the rig to move with the player, but once you are aiming, we want to rotate differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a keyframe on here, and first actually what we want is a tag on here, and this is aim look, and basically what we're doing with this is we're making it so the player looks the direction the cube is facing. So when we do this, now the player is going to attempt to look in that direction. So we will change this to aim look and turn this off to begin with, and we'll make it so when we are aiming, we will turn that on. And you may need to adjust it, like, because if you don't have it like perfectly in the middle, they'll start rotating, even if you're not like moving left and right, which is not good. And from here, we will make it so when you press L2, you will look with camera. Now let's try it. Okay, yeah, this is what we want. Yep, okay. So over here, this keyframe makes it so you're aiming in this direction, and when we are aiming, we are going to get a wireless controller sensor. And we're going to delete this I/O because it doesn't matter because it's wireless. And this will make it so it rotates. So over here we need to get a rotator. Not an advanced one, just a regular rotator. And this will go into the, we need the right stick local. And we're going to split that. And when we're aiming, that's when we turn this on. Excuse me, that's when we turn this on. And we need left and right. I believe it's reversed, unfortunately. So I'm doing left on the stick, right on the stick, so it's not reversed. Okay, so this goes into here, and that does that. And we want to make it so the direction that it's rotating, or the axis it's rotating on, is the y-axis. Alright. Oh, it is reversed, okay. So yeah, there's that, and basically we want to make it actually 100%, 100%, and then we want, is this local? Yeah. Okay, we want to reverse this now. Oh, I'm adding, okay. That's, okay. Okay, now make this possessible again. Okay. There we go. Now look at that. And again, you can adjust the sensitivity how you like by changing the speed of the rotator and also the length of the timer. Now what we need is, so it's not at all like going in the direction of our crosshair. And some people, they would just, what they would do is they just make it emit from the camera, which if you want a multiplayer game, I'm not entirely sure when online multiplayer comes out how camera functionality is going to work, but if you can have like separate cameras for each player, then that wouldn't look good. It just look like a bullet would coming from here. So in order to get around this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him forced aim right now. So I'm going to add a button and power this on. And we want another cube because basically I tried doing this without a cube and I could have sworn it worked differently, but without a cube you don't have it doesn't output the correct thing that you want. And we're gonna make this really small. And the reason for that is because it's gonna be right in front of our gun. And this is going to give us the direction in which to emit the bullet. So I'm gonna pick this back up, put it down in the middle about, and over here what we want is a tag, and this will be our default aim. Oh wait, no, I don't think we need this. Well, yeah, we do, because if this doesn't hit something, it'll be 0, 0, 0. So default aim, and this is just going to give us a pretty far away distance in the middle of our camera. So we're going to open this up, and then we're going to adjust this to be really far away on the same like line of the raycast. Try to get that as accurate as possible. Okay. We can close this and then just drag it out really far. And that'll give you a decent thing to look at. And what we're going to do is I'm going to broadcast this as default aim, or actually we're going to broadcast an aim position. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a node that will act as a basic throughput. So we're going to make it have no ports, and then we'll put this through the node. Why am I being stupid? Okay, there we go. And then hit something, we're going to invert that. So if we haven't hit something, then this will turn on. And if we have hit something, then we're going to output hit position, which is good. And then what we want to do is we need to split this value right here and get the translation, which is the position, because we don't want the rotation or the scale. And then we can close this, and then on here we're gonna go into here, not into here. Yeah, kind of. And I'll set this up already, a receiver in here, and this is gonna be our aim orientation. Actually, we can use this because it's gonna be right in front of it. Aim orientation. And that will go into the scene space direction. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to add a tag on this. And this is going to be gun front. And we're going to put this where we want the cube to be, which is basically where we emit the bullet. So, right here. That's where we emit the bullet pretty much. And then over here, I'm going to put down a teleporter. And it's going to go to that hit gun front and not match target orientation. And then we're going to have a look at rotator, and it will have no tag, so we want to do that. And rotation strength, dampening all the way up. And that's fine. And what I'm going to do is change it so the front is like this. Actually, no, we want to do, yeah, we do want to match target orientation. And this, we want to have it 0. No, yes, yes, we do want to rotate it. Okay, we do want to rotate it. My bad. And this, we're going to take a target position, and we're going to output the scene space direction. So we're going to get the target position. Or aim position, I mean. And we'll do that. And this is going to go into here. And then we're going to transmit aim orientation. Aim orientation. Okay, and then we play it. Our cube is going to show up at the front of our gun, and it's going to look at, if this is it's going to look at where our aim position is. So if we turn on X-ray, it should be transmitting where this is, so it should be looking at that. Why isn't it looking at it? Oh no, it is. It is looking at that. Okay. So now we get an orientation, and that should match where we're hitting. Oh, you want to make the cube non-visible, by the way, and non-collidable. And where's this button? Don't want that. Okay. And now it should try to aim towards the hit position. I believe. Hold on. Why is this not working? This is frustrating. Oh, you know what? It's okay. There's a bug right now that you can't gatekeep transform, so we have to gatekeep the position. So basically, this was still being split, even though I told it to not do it. So it's a bug I've reported already. Basically, transform values don't, like, you can't stop transform values. Look, I'll show you. It's gonna, like, turn on this AND gate. That's a bug. I'm surprised they haven't updated the beta. Like, they didn't update the beta once. I believe maybe what we can do here is I can make to test this, I'm gonna copy this cube, and I'm going to make it follow the position of the hit marker, and that way we can get it onto our crosshair. And I will make this one visible. Yeah, it's a bit off. But you can see how the bullet kind of like is curved. It's trying to hit it as much as possible. So let's go back into here. And then let's go into debug. Test mode, I mean. First I want to open this, and then I will move it and aim. Okay. So guessing, yeah. Okay, so it's shooting from the origin well enough, but it's not like, so it's not aiming towards the direction of the camera, basically. So you can refine this as much as you want from here. But this is how you get a third-person camera shooter going. So I think if I place down like a puppet, it should, another puppet, it should work pretty well. I have like a different version of this that I can publish that has it like really down well. and it has like my my actual like shooting rig set up. Yeah, that needs to be modified. I need to change this to be a little bit to the left. Like that. Hopefully that works. No. Okay, I need to change. No? Okay, that's kind of weird. Making it go left should do that. Should fix it. What was I aiming for? Let's see. Okay, we are aiming for the middle of his head, and then I will stop aiming, then I will get this out, and I will make this so it hits the middle of the head. Ooh. Yeah, you know what? I think it's because the camera is rotated slightly. So what we want is to match the rotation as well as possible. Nope. And we're aiming for the middle over right here. Alright, there we go. Now that should be more accurate. Yeah, that's a lot more accurate. And you'll shoot the actual spot, so you can refine this as much as you want, but this works, and I'm going to be publishing this. I have less than an hour left in the beta, so I'm going to be doing one more tutorial after this one, and it's a animation tutorial on like basic animations. Not basic, just basic animation tips and tricks. So I hope to see you in that video. Comment, like, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter. Those links are in the description. Bye.